Okay, in this video I just want to give you some feedback on the homework that we did last night so that you can go back and kind of check your understanding of some of these concepts. The first three, the increasing, decreasing, and constant intervals, I'm just going to give you the solutions, and if you have questions, just make sure and let me know. On positive, when we're looking at positive, remember positive is referring to the parts of the graph that are above the x-axis, so everything that is above this line here. In this case, I just am looking at this one certain piece of the graph, and so I would write that interval as -8 to -6. Both of the endpoints have solid dots, so those are going to get brackets. When I look at negative, this time I'm looking for everything below this line. So I'm really looking at most of the graph here, all of this part of the graph. Except there's one special point I need to consider, and that is this point right here on -4. Negative, remember, refers to everything that is below the x-axis. This brown dot that I just drew is on the x-axis. So that is actually a 0. I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. X equals -4. -4 cannot be included in either the positive or the negative descriptions of my graph. So when I go to do negative, I really have one piece right here I'm looking at. Let me get a different color here. I really have this piece I'm looking at here. I have a second piece right here. I have a third piece right here. And I have a fourth piece right here. So when I take a look at this, the first two pieces, this piece here and this piece here, have to be written separately because of this brown point right here in the middle. When I look at this piece here and this piece here, these two also have to be written separately because I have an open dot right here that's never going to get colored in by any other piece on the graph. If I consider this piece here and this piece here, in this case, we've got an open dot right on top of a closed dot. The closed dot can color in the open dot. So these two I am able to write together as one interval. So to summarize, I have 1, 2, 3 intervals that I'm going to write total, with the third one being made up of two pieces. So I'm going to go from -6, that's a parentheses because I have an open dot, to -4. This is a parentheses because -4 is a 0 and can't be included in the description of negative right here. I'm going to put the union symbol. I'm going to have another parentheses with -4, so again this is saying that -4 is not included, and I'm going to go to -2. This parentheses is because of the open dot. Oops. Let me squeeze everything over. I'm going to have the union symbol. And now I have -2, and this time I'm going to get to go all the way to +6 with a bracket on +6 because +6 is a closed-in dot. So again, that's this interval first, this interval second, and these two are put together. And parentheses, remember, mean that whatever is next to the parentheses is not included in the graph. Let me see if I can erase this right here. I cannot. If I want to take a look at domain and range, if we do the domain first, I'm going to take and I'm going to transfer all of my points down to the x-axis. So I've got two solid dots coming from this first piece right here. Everything's connected in between them, so I can color them in. Then I'm going to take the dot on -6 down there at the bottom. It's open, but it's colored in by the other piece. I'm going to trace that one. That piece goes all the way to -2 with an open dot, so I can put the open dot on -2, color everything in between. At -2, there's nothing here to +5 with an open dot, so I'm going to color that in. And then I have a closed dot on 5 that can color it in, all the way up to +6. So I really have two intervals for domain that I can write. It's going to start at -8 with a closed dot and a bracket, go all the way to -2 with a parentheses because that's an open dot. I'm going to use the union symbol, and then I'm going to go from -2 all the way up to +6 with a bracket because I have a closed dot. From there, I'm going to pick up my range. I'll use black for range. And I'm going to start with the piece that is lowest on the graph, and that's this piece here. So I'm going to transfer my -8 over. I'm going to transfer my -2 over. Everything's connected in between, so I'll color this in. The next highest piece, I can consider this middle one. That's already colored in, so I can kind of ignore that. For this parabola piece right here, I can put an open dot on the number line, but it's already colored in by the previous two pieces. And then it extends. The highest point on that parabola is right here where it hits 0 on the y-axis, so I'll put a colored in dot on 0. Remember, it's got to be a big fat open dot for it to be open. And everything is connected here, so I can color it in. And then I move up to my last piece. I have a dot on 2. So I'm going to transfer that over and color it in. Trace all the way up to +6. Transfer that over and color it in. So I'm really looking at 2 separate intervals for the range. That's going to go from -8 to 0, my union symbol, and then it's going to go from 2 all the way up to 6.